Hello, it's Justine, or Babe for Food, your BFF in nutrition, health, and wellness, and anything and everything about your well-being. So, welcome to my bed and welcome to my channel. Today, I have a very special guest, and I'm so privileged to have him with me on this episode because he's really quite a busy man and he's hard to catch, but he has been a health and fitness columnist for almost 5 years for SunStar Cebu. He is also a strength and conditioning specialist, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only sports scientist in Cebu, of which he obtained his degree from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, or UP Diliman in Manila, and the athletic director of South Western University PHINMA, as well as a member of the technical panel for CHED in physical education and sports science. He has also been a strength and conditioning coach for several professional sports teams, both in Manila and Cebu. And he is also the proprietor of Epic Performance Fitness Gym at Oak Ridge, Cebu. A sought-after speaker, one of the few wellness advocates in Cebu, we have today with me Mr. Pio Solon. So hi, Pio. Thank you so much for sparing me some of your time. I know you're a very busy guy, so thank you so much for being on this vlog to talk about it, to share your realizations on this quarantine and COVID-19. So I was really interested in, at first, the article that you wrote for SunStar Cebu last March 28th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So there were really a lot of salient points there that I feel more people should know about. And I'm hoping that this episode would also reach key people who will be able to address or help us with the points that you've mentioned in your articles. So I know recently you've also done a webinar for Dagohoy Strength or Dagohoy Academy on further updates about these realizations. So this morning, that's what we'll be talking about.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's start with realization number 1. We are dependent on our routines. The pause now gives us time to reflect on what's necessary and what's not.
Basically, we're just, saying that we're in the rat race so much. And, this time you really think of, am I supposed to be, distressed about certain things? I think it just magnifies what things are really important. And, when you're working or you're a professional, there are so many things to do. At the end of the day, now it really boils down to the basics. You have food, you have shelter, you have good health, you have a loving family. And I think that's it. That's really all we need. And then everything else is gravy. So it really, it hits home for me. We get to reflect on, all the things that are really necessary. Of course, we still want to contribute to society, but at the end of the day, once you have all the basic needs covered, you're in good shape.
Yeah, right. It's a really good time for us to reflect, like what you said, and yeah, this applies to me as well. I've had a really hectic lifestyle for the past year, and it's easy for us to really forget, what life is really about. We leave home early for work, and we get home, we just want to rest. A lot of us don't spend enough time with our loved ones or, the things that matter. So this is really a good time for us to do some introspection or evaluation of ourselves and our lives.
Yeah.
So next realization, you've mentioned slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And we get to examine the stuff that holds us back and are able to cultivate healthier habits as long as we're mindful and dialed in.
Yeah.
So
slow is smooth, smooth is fast is something they teach us when we do sports performance stuff. When you're learning a skill, when you're correcting a skill, so you slow it down and you make it smooth, and that allows you to speed up. And I think that applies to life right now. Slowing things down, just enjoying, keeping things smooth, stress free, getting rid of a lot of baggages. A lot
Right.
of people are going to see maybe toxic relationships, toxic mindsets, and if they're mindful enough, if people are mindful enough, then it's a time to reflect on that. And yeah, this is an opportunity to change a lot of the things that we do. And you know, slowing things down, getting more smooth with our daily routines, unity at home speeds us up once this thing is over. Yeah. A lot of the projects we're working on now, and maybe this might happen to you. A lot of the things that we're working on now are things that we planned years ago. So it
Right.
really takes a lot of time.
Exactly. So now finally, like, okay, no excuses. Really
Yeah,
finally have to work on it.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And I believe that this time is also, well, for me, I'd really want all of us to focus more on, like you said in this point, cultivating healthier habits. It's really time for us to start building, if not rebuilding, healthy habits that we've probably left out already in our lives. And these healthy habits are, of course, what our health really depends on, which is our mental habits, our spiritual habits, our emotional habits, and
Right.
even our physical habits, our exercise routine that a lot of us probably just started in January 1 and forgot all about it by now.
And we
You,
realize that we can live without milk tea.
yeah. Oh my goodness. I always tell people na instead of spending on milk tea, which is about 100 or 100 plus pesos, why not buy fruits with it instead? Use that budget for fruits instead. Everybody keeps complaining, fruits are so expensive, but then you buy milk tea almost on a daily basis. So
Uh,
pool those funds for fruits instead.
Sometimes it's
Yeah, sometimes it's fine. I still drink milk tea sometimes, like once a month. We all have to live a little, so
yeah, definitely, definitely.
so for point number 3, you also said this is the time to organize and validate our emotions and hang-ups, and it's time to work through that. This is the time to do it, and it's time to think about the things you think about. I guess that's what you just mentioned earlier, the projects that we've been thinking of for the past years. We finally get to have time to do something about it now and not just keep thinking about it. Stop dreaming,
Even
start
for
doing.
concept, uh, your for example, for me, I have very clear patterns of knee-jerk responses to certain situations. And this is the time to think and validate if these are the right responses.
Right.
uh, these are, well, from an emotional perspective, trying to get to a healthy and effective place, as a person. I think a lot of it is really emotional health.
Yeah.
So, thinking about what we think about on a daily basis, how we think of certain situations, and looking back if, these were valid emotions at the time, looking at the grand scheme of things. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So this quarantine is really, it could be uh,
yeah.
a welcome situation for a lot of us because, right, we don't really have time, or a lot of us don't really make time to reevaluate our lives around this time of the
Yeah.
year. It's probably for the good ones, they probably do it half within the half of the year, but usually probably we only have time to really do this by the end of the year during Christmas holidays and all. So this is really a good time for us to reevaluate and reboot.
Yeah.
I love your next point, which is one way or another, we are diversifying our nutrition.
Most people are probably cooking at home. There's less dependence maybe on eating out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think eating out is necessary, but when you eat at home, you get to control the things that go into your food, how it's prepared. So I think that's a good thing. Uh, the only thing maybe that's difficult for some is having access to the supermarkets, because
Yeah.
it's with the production, to get food. We're also seeing a lot of food delivery services coming out. People have a lot of their time on their hands. They have a talent for cooking. Now they're
Yeah.
cooking. We get buy those things, so we're getting to taste a lot of food from different people. So yeah, we're breaking out from our normal routines. We're not eating where we usually eat, the restaurants, the carinderias. So yeah, it's a fun time. I think the challenge is to get fresh produce.
Yeah.
Of course, delivery services have to go through different checkpoints. So uh, it's a good time. It's a good time. We're experiencing different food. For those who are more skilled in the kitchen, they're probably learning new recipes. We've been
Yeah.
working on new recipes at home. So maybe after this, I can imagine after this, when we have access to food,
Yeah.
and with the skills we learned from cooking, I think our house menu is going to change.
Definitely. So it's a lot of people are having COVID-19 culinary discoveries
Yeah,
right in their own
definitely.
homes. Yeah. And they're also discovering more of their skills, apparently,
Yeah,
that they're able to
yeah,
do more in the kitchen and they're actually able to get creative and try new things.
right.
So, in that sense, they are also diversifying their nutrition because it's not the usual things that they've been eating. And hopefully, a lot of people will realize during this time that, and will
Mhm.
also get to observe this time that, you know, the more we eat home cooked meals, the better we feel, the better our bodies actually take it,
Yeah.
as compared to probably previously people would eat more of convenience food and fast food. So it's a huge difference. And a lot of people are probably experiencing better bowel movement, better sleep, and less bloating. Hopefully, that's what a lot of us are experiencing. For me, I am. I'm privileged to have my mom cook our meals every day. And I try to keep active. I try to work out every day and drink more water. So again, yeah, this is really the time for us to build those healthy habits.
Yeah.
And realization number 5, whatever you've sowed into your health, you will reap during this time.
Yeah. And so many people probably neglected their health for the past 10 years. And this is when, I think this is the time where you're going to feel the most anxious about it.
Mm,
For those taking care of their health, of course, it's still an anxious time, but you have a little bit of confidence for the future.
yeah,
You know that if ever lang that you get coronavirus, there's a fighting chance of being asymptomatic. And we're seeing from the research that men who drink a lot and are obese have the highest mortality rates,
yeah,
uh, and smokers too. So there's nothing in the past 6 weeks that's going to correct what you've been doing for the past 10 years.
yeah,
And
right.
it's really about deposits and withdrawals. And if you've been withdrawing from your health for so long, 6 weeks of deposits not gonna. It's going to improve stuff, but
Yeah,
it's not going to
not enough to
reverse.
catch up. Yeah, it's
For a lot of people, it's an anxious time. For those who've been taking care of themselves, this is when you feel, well, if it boils down to the survival of the fittest, then maybe I have a chance.
Yeah.
But for some of those who've been neglecting their health, then I fear for that demographic.
Yeah. And hopefully this is really the time when, or after this, people really realize the importance of prevention, right?
Yeah.
This is really what we've been taking for granted for the past years, and it has a lot to do with, of course, our legislation, right? It
Uh,
really has a lot to do with the government as well, how they steer the health management. So the health industry as well has not really been prioritizing prevention. We're really more of a treatment
yeah.
model.
Right. Oh, there's a lot to be said, but I think eventually there will be a shift. It also, I think it's also the level of our education, and it's a cultural issue. We're more reactive as a people rather than proactive. And I think it's not just the public sector, but the private sector has a lot of say in this now, especially within companies. So there might be some changes. Uh, I think companies, especially BPOs, will
Mm.
have to reevaluate a lot of things. And I don't know if I think I wrote about this in SunStar, that companies might have to pay closer attention to the health of their employees, and they might have to institute metrics uh, to
Right.
to uh, to facilitate and make it more effective. We look at the BPOs. Just because they work from the BPO doesn't mean they live an unhealthy lifestyle, but the lack of sleep is a
Mm.
very big factor.
Exactly.
Um, we see a lot of, and this is just anecdotal from people in the industry, that they see a lot of weight gain,
Mm.
and sleep deprivation causes that.
Yeah.
And what worries me more is the habits that it promotes. No, for some people, when one health factor is out, like sleep, they just
Exactly.
say,
It
okay,
leads to a
not
cascade
sleep
of
well,
a lot
I'll
of
just
other
eat
things.
what I want. So
Yeah.
that's that's gonna be something that should be looked into in the next few years.
Right. And with this line of whatever you've sowed into your health, I know a lot of us again are very treatment oriented instead of prevention oriented. So a lot of people tend to prefer the quick fixes, right? And with that, a lot of people just rely on supplements and they don't really take care of the other
Yeah.
aspects, the actual aspects of their health that they should be taking care of. I like what you mentioned in the webinar the other day, that
Uh,
you really can't buy yourself into your health, right? Like, especially when it comes to exercise,
yeah.
there's
You
no
gotta move.
quick fix for exercise. There's no pill for that can match the benefits of exercise. Which leads us to your next realization, which is we are learning different ways to exercise at home. Hopefully,
Uh,
that's true for a lot of us.
well, maybe for someone like us, we know how to exercise, so we're so dependent on getting stuff in the gym. I miss some stuff that we do in the gym, but you have to make do with what you have. Fortunately, we have a lot of stuff here at home, so we're
Mhm.
still exercising. Um, uh, Body weight stuff is good. Yoga, you can just put on a video on YouTube and follow it.
Yeah, if
I
you don't have
tried
a
to
yoga
follow
mat, you could use a bath towel.
Yep. You can do it on your floor. You can use a chair. You can use the sofa. You can exercise in your bed. Um, We do a lot of, we used to do a lot of flexibility work and mobility work. I like to dance.
Wow, that's a
I like to
surprise. I never knew that.
uh, try to put on a video and just get a good sweat.
So you got into the TikTok bandwagon.
Not to TikTok, but I've always, uh, in sports science, you have four subjects of dance. Uh,
Really?
we're yeah, we're all able to teach aerobics one way or the other. Not as
Ah,
well someone who's an expert in it. There's four subjects of dance. You graduate knowing how to dance competently.
oh wow, that's really interesting. I haven't seen you dance
I
yet,
always
so
love that. I
that's something
always
to
love
look
that.
forward to. Probably touch base with that skill again, with that talent again. Hopefully,
It,
we'll see that after COVID-19, after the quarantine. We'll see
not
more
to
of
teach, but just to exercise.
that. Okay. Yeah, this is true. We're learning a lot of different ways to exercise at home with the lack of access to, I mean, we don't really have access to gyms anymore. So it's really a matter of figuring out how we can move. And for a lot of people, we're also doing more house chores, and that's still exercise. So uh, they say hashtag flatten the curve, that joke about your tummy being the curve, your belly being the curve. But I also believe that a lot of people might even be moving more now than their previous lifestyle or their previous habits, because they get to do more house chores, and that's, I guess, how they'll be able to flatten the curve. They might be eating more, but I guess if they're also able to move more during this time, it will still definitely be better for them compared to before, pre-quarantine.
For sure.
So the next realization is both treatment and prevention are necessary in our healthcare systems. This is magnified during this time.
Yeah. So we see, a lot of our healthcare is really treatment oriented. If you get sick, this is what you do, rather than focusing on not how to get sick. And disease prevention spans so many facets of our culture: education, legislation, actual practice,
Yeah.
infrastructure,
Mhm.
um, public health services. All these things have to, and even corporate policies, company business policies,
And
have
urban
all
planning, right?
urban
Even urban
planning,
planning.
infrastructure, urban planning, greenery, agriculture. Everything has to, there might have to be a task force
You're right.
to get all those things in line and aligned. As to when, I don't know, but as health professionals, we try to do what our part is when we can, wherever we are. Prevention is really a huge deal, and as long as you're educating children sooner, I think this has a huge chance of taking off. Um, the
Yeah.
average cost of diabetes is $300 a month
Yeah.
for one person, and our average monthly wage is, I don't know, 10,000 pesos. So
Yeah.
looking at that, if someone who has average wage gets diabetes, they're screwed. So
Yeah, which is
really,
majority of our population has it. I mean,
majority,
it's really one
majority.
of the top pillars in our country, and a lot of people don't realize, or they don't know, that diabetes is not something that you get just from a few months back, but it's actually something that's built up over time, over a decade even. So it's, your diabetes has been there, it's been brewing for the
Yeah,
past years, and it just, when it comes up, that's it.
yeah,
It's really an accumulation of the habits that you've been doing for your lifestyle. So yeah, hopefully, there really will be a shift in prioritizing prevention more than treatment now, and this really has a huge impact on our economy even, because as we can see during this time, being treatment oriented is really costing us a lot of money. And if we just, you know, prioritize these funds or these
Yeah.
budget for prevention rather than treatment, it would definitely save us a lot in the long run.
Yeah.
And this is really possible. I mean, it's really a matter of empowering people with the knowledge, you know, to manage their own health and take care of their own health. Because as we can see now, you know, what's really killing all of us is really lifestyle diseases, and these are very much preventable if we just know how to manage our own health. So that's
I think most people know what to do.
most people
Most
know
people
what
know
to
what to
do.
do. It's just a matter of doing it, and
Yeah.
it's not as pleasurable. Being healthy is pleasurable in the short term, as compared to having your junk food or having something unhealthy.
Yeah, it is definitely less convenient, but the trade-offs, it really pays off. Yeah, it really pays off. And that's our job. It's your job, it's my job to really, make people or encourage people to get into this lifestyle, the healthier lifestyle, and sustain it. So your next point is PE can be a tool that could and should be used to shape, educate, and equip the citizenry to take control of their health. Instead of teaching PE in college, maybe we should shift more towards a supervisory role and assess and follow up if students are actually doing the things they've learned from elementary and secondary education.
I think there should be a shift from teaching PE to and applying physical education. And I think PE teachers should get to the point, or not just PE teachers, but the education system with physical education should shift towards from teaching towards seeing the application, and that's something that I'm keen on working on in the next few days.
Wow, in
Um,
the next few days.
yeah, that's a project that I started yesterday, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks I'll come up with something that's more concrete and something that enables our educators to use as a tool um, to effectively monitor their students well in this regard. Um, yeah, we've been teaching PE for so long, and whether we like it or not, it's really a subject that has been set aside compared to the heavier science and math subjects. And what
Yeah,
I tell people, you can have the smartest kid, yeah, you can have the most brilliant engineer, but if they're gonna be sick by the age of 40, what are they going to be contributing to the economy? So, in that regard, that is where the value of PE is. If you're able to get students who are able to take care of themselves and know how to take care of themselves when they become professionals, you'll probably, and this is probably a keystone um, in prevention. So yeah, we're excited to use PE. We're excited to work with different educators to make this happen, and it will take time to see the results of this program, but doing nothing is also as disastrous because there won't be
true,
any change. So
true.
I think change has to start from somewhere. I'm not sure if what we'll come up with is going to be the perfect solution, but we're willing to start out in that area, do a tracer study to see the efficacy, and then revise as we go along. So yeah, we have to change the PE system one way or the other. Uh, I think if in our PE system we knew about social distancing, I think there would have been a change with how the community reacted to this pandemic. So I think in the near future, if these events become more frequent, God forbid, but if they do become more frequent, I think that our citizens, our community should know how to prepare, what to prepare for, how to take care of themselves, how to sanitize, how to make hygiene a priority. So yeah, I think PE is going to be a strong tool in the next
Yeah,
few years.
yeah, I believe so too. I mean, um, like you mentioned, PE has been taken for granted as well, or it's underrated. PE is so underrated, but personally, it was one of my favorite subjects back in high school. It's it's one of my highest grades,
Yeah,
PE,
yeah.
the arts, music, but PE and even in college, I still enjoyed PE, or I was exempted because I was part of the volleyball team for intrams. But yeah, I mean, PE is very much related, or physical education is very much related to mental health and mental well-being, as well as discipline, right? So those are really essential uh, in life, that we have to be mentally resilient, and we also need the discipline to be able to accomplish the things that we've been planning or that we want to do. So yeah, PE, along with a lot of other underrated subjects, hopefully will become more prioritized as well, as the educational system shifts after this quarantine. Hopefully there will be a shift, in the curriculum that we'll be having. So PE probably, along with, of course, home economics and
Yep.
cooking and gardening, a lot of these things that are really very much related to our health and well-being, I think should really be more promoted in schools after this. So with the next realization, health is wealth. And for some people in the world right now, good health is really all they want, and something they cannot have any control over anymore. So
Yeah.
we hear of a lot of, we know that this virus does not discriminate. It can affect anybody
Yeah.
at any financial level or social status. Um, and we hear about a lot of these well-off people who get affected by this virus, that at the end of the day, their money doesn't do anything for them. All they want is really to have good health and have more time with their families
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
100%. It's really, at the end of the day, if you have health, then you can chase after wealth. But if you
Yeah,
lose your health, even if you're wealthy, there's nothing you can do. So,
exactly.
for a lot of the Italians, maybe, they're realizing that, health is all they need right now. For a lot of the countries that are severely, severely affected with the pandemic, good health is really all they just need. And there's nothing they can do right now. You can be uh, Switzerland or any affluent country, but if your citizens are not healthy, then what can you do?
Yeah, that's so true.
Uh,
And yeah, the virus is really affecting even first
mm,
world countries, and they're also struggling. So how
right.
much more for our country? So guys, please stay home. we cannot afford we cannot afford to have this blown over even more. So the next realization, you can buy the most expensive equipments, supplements, all those can help, but at the end of the day, it boils down to sleep, eating well, stress management, and movement.
Yeah, it's really just the basics. I think if you have those four things aligned, and you're working well on those four things, um, 80%, 90% chance you're going to be on the road to good health.
Yeah,
Sleeping 8 hours a day is very underrated. Eating well, of course, we know. Managing stress. Stress is a silent killer, I believe. We've
yeah,
seen so many people, super healthy, but so much stress. and
That's so
they
true.
wonder why they get sick. And of course, movement and exercise. Um, I think that's how we round it up. And so many people think that there's a quick fix,
Yeah.
and you can buy your way, really, first class luxury supplements. They do help in a way, but if you don't have these four things, I think um, you're missing the boat.
Exactly. I mean, if people are just relying mainly on supplements rather than instead of their diet, instead of movement, instead of stress management and sleep hygiene, um, for their health, it's really pointless.
Uh-huh.
Because most likely you'll be deficient in a lot of your nutrients anyway. Your body won't be able to metabolize things well, the nutrients well. Your body won't be able to recover. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
stress is really, like you said, a silent killer, and it's really the cause of most of our diseases, even cancer. No matter how healthy you eat or how active you are, if you're not also managing your stress well, or if you're not sleeping well, sleeping enough, then it shouldn't come as a surprise that you'd still get sick. So this is really our original medicine, and people have to know this. They have to realize this, that you have to put in the work. We have to commit to these healthy habits if we really want to have, a
Yeah.
sustainable way of managing our health.
Right.
I mean, supplements, if you think about it, are really additional costs to, the things that we spend on our expenditures. I mean, taking supplements, it's on top of what you actually eat. So why not focus on what you're eating instead, right?
Yeah.
And these supplements are really expensive, especially if you're talking about the luxury supplements,
No.
quality, top quality, which we
Yeah.
all know that you never even get 100% of that, no matter how expensive it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, so
Definitely.
you were able to come up with these realizations because you wanted to share your thoughts on this, so you wanted people to think about um, what they've been doing before this quarantine, what they are
Yeah.
doing now, and how they can prepare themselves for after this quarantine.
Yes.
So yeah, these are all really great insights, very great points. Thank you so much, Pio, for sharing your time with us this morning.
Thank you.
And yeah, hopefully we'll get to work on something soon for the health sector and for the
100%.
wellness promotion in Cebu. It really, yeah, I mean, even urban planning, no, it's really an obstacle for us here that we're not given um, the access, or our environment doesn't really promote us to move or to be more active or even to eat healthy. Yeah, I think there really has to be a task force, or people should really come up with, especially the government should really come up with um, strategies to make healthy eating more accessible for us. Hopefully Department of Agriculture will work on that. I know they're giving out free seedlings. That's the start. It's home gardening, and hopefully when we have access to our suppliers as well, the local farms, the local farmers, they can be able to round them up and have them more accessible to us. Because when I was working in Manila, I think people there are really more health conscious. They're more aware of prevention. They're more aware of, yeah, and they're willing to pay for it, And my realization there was, when I was working there, I was like, Cebu has all these resources, but where are they? It's so sayang, because Cebu is so rich in these resources, and yet why isn't it as accessible for us?
Mhm.
in Manila, they
I think
have Legazpi Sunday Market. They have a lot of these deliveries from their provinces, so they have access to the fresh produce, and they would pay even if it's much more expensive.
yeah. Eventually, I think it will get there, but it will take some time.
Yeah. Hopefully after this quarantine, people will start, patronizing our local farmers and local healthy products, services as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much again for your time, Pio. I'll see you
Thank
around.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll link your article in this blog so people can also review, get back to your points on this if they need to.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pio.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day.
Bye.
Bye. So I hope today's episode made you guys think about how to prepare for what's after this quarantine, because definitely the world will change. It already is. So you have to prepare. And, a lot of things are changing. And yet, there's still a lot of good things that came about in this quarantine. Hopefully, all of us are learning more about ourselves, discovering new things about ourselves, the skills that we have, or the skills that we want to work on, especially about our health and how we should be taking care of our health here on and onwards. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you like more content like this, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments below for any suggestions, questions, suggestions on what else you'd like to hear from this blog. And yeah, see you next time.